Hey, welcome back once again. I am here with my amazing friend, Amber Coleman, and we
Hi,
brought
guys.
a handsome devil to join us today once again, Brent Jones, who's one of our, I guess, most educated and powerful and most amazing appraisers in town.
He's the best appraiser I've ever seen.
Best appraiser.
And
Well,
I'm not even
come
just saying that
on.
because he's sitting right here.
Yeah,
She's not. We actually-
If there was another appraiser.
No,
I really wouldn't.
we talk about you behind your back, and it's
Not buying
always
it.
good. So I want to just say, so my name is Laci, as you know, and if you're new here, please welcome and just sit back for the ride. I guess we're gonna have a good time
It's gonna be
today.
a fun one.
The Las Vegas market, as well as like the real estate market across the nation and the world, is ever changing, as you know. So we're constantly trying to be educated and learn more and see what the different angles are that might, make a difference for you. So before I get started, if you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas, or maybe considering it, or maybe you're like 10 years away from that idea and you just want to talk to somebody, that's what we're here for. You got to click the link in the description.
Yes,
You can, I forgot to put my phone number on the screen because, Lord knows I need more text messages and phone calls, right?
You absolutely do.
Yes. So let's kick off. So Brent has been doing this, 30, you don't look old enough, 34 years.
So you're like 8 when you started.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Best looking guy in the industry. I
It's
swear
all
to
that blood
goodness.
spinning. You
Yes.
were talking about.
It really is, see?
So if you have questions about anything, where I get my hair done, where to go to eat to dinner, or about real estate itself, please drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. We're going to have a conversation with our friend Brent here and try to educate ourselves as well as you about what the hell is going on in the Las Vegas real estate
Let's
market.
put him on the spot.
All right. So before we grill you, because we're going to grill you, I don't know if you know this, viewers, but the appraisers kind of have the keys to the world when it comes to the real estate market. They're really heavily responsible for
Yeah.
helping us understand the value that comes with what we're purchasing. The largest purchase of your life usually is usually your house. So Brent, what's your take right now as we're walking into August and we're looking at the last the last quarter of the year?
Right.
What's your take on the current market right now?
Yeah. It's the weather's hot.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Camera's here if you want to look
Here,
at
I
these
gotta look over
awesome.
there.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the
look
camera.
at
I
this
don't get to
gorgeous
watch
guy.
guys.
You can watch us. It's all good. Yeah.
Uh,
What's your take? You can talk to us about it. Yeah.
Here's the deal. So for the longest time, as appraisers, we watch inventory, and we can tell by the inventory movements where the market's going, what it's going to do. And so when anybody asks me where's the market going, I go, hey, my crystal ball is very murky.
Oh, we say the same. Yeah.
I don't know where it's going. But if you continue to watch the inventory numbers, and where we are right now is at a stage, we are close to 6,000 listings overall, including all the different asset classes, manufactured, condos, townhomes, single family.
Right.
So we're starting to see a little softening because it's supply and demand. The more houses that are on the market. What's interesting is that under 400,000, there's only 1,800 homes.
Yep.
So
Those ones don't soften.
they're not. It's not, and that's where we're seeing most of the activity, the buyer demand side.
Yeah.
But I think when people are thinking about buying here, and they go, well, I'm going to wait for rates to go down.
Yeah.
Well, if rates go down, guess what? Prices are going to stay where they are or go up.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have more demand. So
Yeah.
there's no perfect world where you get lower rates and lower prices.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that here in Las Vegas or really anywhere in the country, because those are contrary to supply and demand.
Cannot have your cake and
dynamics.
eat it too. And
No.
listen, you can do a lot of eat, drink, and be merry here in Las Vegas. But when it comes to buying a house, you're going to have to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
Do you buy early with a higher rate and just get the home that you're able to think about and peruse and maybe have some thought going into it? Or do you wait until rates drop and scramble to find that mattress money that you've been hiding for the last 30 years and maybe borrow from your grandma's retirement to hopefully be able to compete? So
Did you point
that's
at
kind
me
of
when you said grandma?
I did not. Did I?
Oh, you're in trouble
I just said
right
you're
now?
like the most handsome guy I've ever met. So I'm in trouble. Anyway, so my God, don't call me out like that. I totally did just point at
Hey,
him.
look, we gotta have a
I
little
was
fun
like,
here.
looking
You were
for
really pointing. You're just pointing at me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
You said grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma's money. So all that being said,
Or
great.
maybe I'm just a little sensitive.
No, he's sensitive. I don't know why. I just said he was handsome for 15 minutes. But anyway, super grateful for that update. Amber, what do you see when it comes to rates right now with just, I know everybody's saying there's going to be a rate drop. They're always saying whatever, but what are your takes?
So with the rates right now, so I keep reading things that say the rates have already dropped. So what happened is the rates went up like May and into June, they went up, right?
Okay.
And then middle of June, they started to drop.
Right.
After the Fed spoke, like it was that really good time, right? But they only dropped back down to where they were.
Right.
So they went up and then they dropped back down to where they were. So they haven't really improved a whole lot.
Wait, is that like when like Walmart for Black Friday,
Yeah.
like a month in advance makes the prices for TVs go up, and then during Black Friday there's frenzy because they dropped the rates? It's artificial. It's not real.
That's what happens. So I keep
I'm a good analogy queen over here, right?
Oh, she's the best
I'm impressed
analogy.
with that.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm going to use that. I put that on my appraisal report.
Yeah.
It's just like Black Friday at Walmart.
It's Black Friday over here, yeah. But is that kind of what you mean? So if
It, but like when it was raising, I was like, don't freak out yet because they're about to lower it.
yeah.
You know, so it did. It went up and then it went down. So it went up about 0.5% and then it went down about 0.5%.
Got it.
So right now they're even to where they have been
Got it.
most of the year, to be quite honest with you. So the rates haven't like dropped, but there's a Fed meeting next Wednesday.
I'm trembling in my boots for the Fed meeting. I'm not going to lie.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So, and then in September, everybody's talking about that there's a really high chance that the Feds are going to start lowering rates. Now, just keep this in mind. You know, I think that we have the most educated viewers on this.
Yes, we do.
This channel,
Smarty
right?
pantses. Yes.
So just keep this in mind. So the rate that we're talking about that they're lowering supposedly in September, about 0.25%. There's even stuff floating around. It might be 0.5%. That is the short-term rate, right? So our long-term rates depend on a lot of the perception, but it also depends on what the Feds do with mortgage-backed securities and a lot of the movement with bonds. So that doesn't always move us. What the words that he says moves us, and different things will move us. So just because they say and they have that headline that says rates dropped 0.25% doesn't mean our rates are going to drop.
Doesn't mean it's going to affect us.
Or they're going to drop at all, because it all depends on what they say and what they do with with the purchasing of the mortgage-backed securities. So they call it like a balance sheet runoff. So definitely look out for those words.
Financial lessons from Amber Coleman over here. That was really,
damn.
That was a good one, huh?
Wow.
And if you don't know already, we are 3 parts of a real estate transaction. You know, I get to do the fun part where we get to hang out and we get to look at houses and we get to decide all the wonderful things that you're going to do in that house and imagine your Christmas tree or whatever you've got, where your couch is going to go. She gets to do the hard part, in my opinion, the really hard part that I would never touch with a 10-foot pole because it has math involved and I'm not about that.
Oh my goodness, you're good at math.
No, I'm horrible. And then this guy gets to like turn the key and decide if it's going to finish out or not. So like we're 3 different parts. So we've got 2 takes. My take on the industry right now is the buyers that are coming into town, the people like you who are watching this video are excited about moving to Vegas, or they're already in motion to move because they have a new job or whatever's bringing them here is happening. I've got a lot of you who are talking to me about, I'm going to wait till next year, or I'm going to wait until the rates drop. And I'm never going to try to pressure you, but I'm always going to urge you to listen to reason when it comes to what I just said. You know, when you're pulling mattress money out of grandma's mattress and you're trying to compete with someone, that's not an environment where you want to be buying a house. That's not a peaceful, exciting experience. And it's going to leave you tainted for the next round, right? I would rather you have some peace with the process, enjoy it, shop for your home with us, have a great time, and then find a better rate later, right? What do we say? Date the rate, marry the house, right?
Yeah, date the rate, marry the house.
Just go. I don't date, but if I was dating, I would be dating the rate and marrying the house. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
so
it's better to date the rate while they're a little higher.
Yeah.
And then when you're already married, then the rate gets better. So it's like dating somebody that doesn't have a sexy body yet, and then after you get married, they get all sexy body.
Look at this analogy,
that, right?
girl.
Look at what I'm learning from you.
First of all, that better be cut into a clip later. That was amazing.
Was that a good one?
I'm rubbing off on you. I'm scared.
Can I get back to the
listen, this guy.
You know what? For anybody who is thinking of moving here, a lot of those loan programs now, the DSCRs, where you can use the rental income and you could buy as an investor, rent it out for a year or 2 before you're ready to come.
Yeah.
You know what? This market's still, there's a lot of land still, but you know what? Trying to building costs, everything's gone up. The builders have started to kind of pull back in some of their building, what they're thinking they're going to build.
Their projections for sure. Yeah.
I mean, nobody knows what the future is, but that's one of the things we're seeing. I'm doing a lot of those investment type appraisals where it's relying upon what that rental income is going to be driving to make.
Is that a lot of the market right now?
Not a lot of it, but more.
But like 10%? Like what would you say?
15%,
15,
maybe
that's a
10,
big
10
percentage.
to 15%. A lot of investors.
There's a lot of opportunity. So if
Yeah.
you think you have to save 20%, or you think you've got to get everything perfect before it's time to buy, this is the girl who would help you put together an amazing game plan. And you'd be surprised as to the programs that might make you, at least invest sooner, even if your body can't be here right away. I mean, that's kind of what you're saying. So lots of great opportunities. Now it's time to grill this guy, because he is a wealth of knowledge and we want you to be learning. Amber, I'm going to let you start because you've got some questions written down. Let's jump in right away. Some questions we have for the appraiser, the master key turner, the Wizard of Oz, if you will, right? It's better than
man
behind the curtain over here. So let's go. You go ahead and ask them some questions.
There's a couple questions that I have for you. So there's a lot of changes happening in the industry on August 1st that has to do with like the commissions and how things are put on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
So the MLS is what you look at to find houses, right?
Right.
So right now as an appraiser, you're going to look at things like in order of, okay, so this house sold for this with this commission and now it doesn't show anymore.
So
let
me pause for a minute. So for those that are watching, so when you're purchasing a home, when you're an appraiser, it has in the past, right, mattered what kind of buy downs or what kind of money is being given or gifted or whatever through the process by the seller. That does matter in the process of appraising.
Yeah,
right?
For example, just to make sure I'm clear. So right now, if a seller gives concessions to like buy your rate down or gives concessions towards closing costs, you look at that as a seller concession, and then you what happens with the value on that?
So there's two different scenarios, and really the red flags with this are when you have. Let's talk about a listing, okay? And it's listed at $500,000, and you've got a buyer, but they need 10,000 assistance, and now all of a sudden, voila, that list price, the sales price is now $510.
Right.
Okay.
After all those deductions.
Okay.
Right.
No, well, not even after the deductions. Just okay. We're going to try and bake in those seller concessions. That's today. Okay. That's a red flag for appraisers, because if the property's been on the market for 30 days, why would somebody, if they were a cash buyer, they certainly wouldn't pay $510. They would pay $500 or less.
Right.
So always be careful about that. That's kind of a big red flag in appraiser
So offering
bill.
more than what
the house is listed, especially the longer it's been on the market.
Got it.
If it's been on a short time on market, then the argument could be made that it was listed below market in order to elicit multiple offers. Okay, so that's the first caveat. Now let's talk about the comps or the comparable sales for those of you. That's what we use as appraisers to determine the value of the property. That's the primary approach. So now if we have a sale that was paid $10,000 in seller concessions, which today is listed in the multiple listing service.
It's visible to everyone,
the big change in August, I think it's August 17th, but I think in our world, I think they're actually going to stop advertising it. We're not going to see that anymore. But today's world, if that $500,000 comp had $10,000 in commissions, it would more than likely, depending on the appraiser, it could be deducted down dollar for dollar.
Wow.
So it now really starts as a $490,000 comp before we adjust for the other variables.
Now you can't see it.
Well, today we can see it in August. Now we're not going to. So it's going to be at the appraiser's discretion as to his verification process. I was asked to say, can you confirm how things are going to be handled going forward? I go, I can't confirm because I don't know what the appraiser is going to do in terms of verification. I don't know what the realtor is going to do in terms of verifying.
Right.
Everybody's got kind of right now it's just kind of the agencies, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, FHA have said, look, if it's a regular commission, normal commission, standard no adjustments need to be made. Appraisers don't need to adjust for that.
Right.
But if we're now seeing concessions plus commissions now, and the price is being jacked up, guess what? There's no comp for it. And that's the bottom line. Is there a comp for it?
So that experience right there really keeps, it should be keeping the listing agents accountable for how they're listing these homes, because because otherwise there can get into a world of hurt where it's looking like it's selling at 510, but after all of what we just discussed, that's not the real value of the home, because the home is not tied into that dollar for dollar. It's my money. It's someone else's money.
The value of the home
Yeah.
is determined by what the other what the sales
Right.
are and how that home
Right.
that home stacks up
Right.
in terms of the adjustments we're going to make, whether it's lot size, bedrooms, baths, square footage,
Right.
garage space,
Got it.
pools, all that.
Okay. We're going to talk about value
Gotcha.
and what adds value to your home here in a few minutes. We asked you this last time, but I know a lot of people weren't tuned in. I did want to just encourage you, if you're still watching or if you're tuning in right now, we're here having a great conversation about appraisals. If you're thinking about moving to Vegas, there's a phone number on the bottom of the screen. You can always contact us anytime. But we really want to know what your questions are about anything related to real estate or really anything Las Vegas. So drop it like it's hot in the comment box below while we're chatting, and we'll bake you into the process and the conversation. So that was a good question. I have a question for you, really. Oh, actually, I want to talk to you about the program that you've launched recently, because we have a lot of real estate agents that watch my channel and watch what we do. A lot of lenders do as well. You know, they watch it because we're the best. No, I mean, they're watching because, you know, we all learn from each other. And I know across the nation, a lot of agents watch what we do to learn from us from marketing. So if you're an agent and you're watching, tune in right now, because I really want to hear about this program that you've created that I think will help a little bit with the process.
Yes, it will, because the what's going to happen from here out, it's going to be about deal structuring.
Got it.
Okay. And everybody's going to have a knowledge of what the comps are, how much in commissions can be paid, how much in seller concessions can be paid, and still not have what we call an appraisal gap, which is what happens if the sales contract is here, the appraisal comes in below that, there needs to be a renegotiation, which is a no fun phone call for anybody.
No, it's not. It's
so
the worst.
What we did is basically when Zillow came out, you know, as an appraiser, I get really tired of hearing what Zillow says my house is worth.
Yep.
Okay. Zillow is not the Bible. Okay. In fact, we were just talking.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
What we were just talking about is, if you notice, if you ever are looking at a home and it says it's at 800,000 and it goes to listed at $1.1 million, voila, that estimate's now going to go up and follow very closely.
Yeah.
So it's not real.
You know what? It's a Zestimate.
Yeah.
That's not a real word.
That's not a real word.
So anyhow, as an appraiser,
that.
and I've been doing that, so that it was like Zillow's 20th birthday. I said, look, I want to create a product that can help an agent or myself prove whether that number's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And so we created a product called valuetest.ai. It's free to agents for unlimited use. What our model is to try and acquire, 50 to 100,000 agents, where we have a very vital advertising platform for home services, different types of home improvement, people who want to be in front of buyers and sellers and agents, because let's face it, that you refer a lot of different outside services, not just lending.
Right.
So that's really the bottom line. But this valuetest.ai, the other thing we're doing, I have a tech partner called propmix.io, where actually they've created a loan officer product using public record data that you can even access without the MLS.
Wow.
So you can just run your we're launching that in the next couple of weeks.
So we're getting smarter thanks to people like you who are starting to think outside the box and know what we need.
Thinking outside the box.
How about that? Transparency.
Yeah.
Look, we are all looking at the same data.
Yeah.
As an agent, you look at the MLS, I look at the MLS. I do it for a bank, an underwriter, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. You do it for a buyer and a seller. There may be some emotion there.
Just a little bit. Listen, my job is managing emotions and timelines. That's what I do for a living.
It's a big job. It's a big job.
So having everybody on the same page, having you as a lender be able to see the comps, you as a buyer's agent, listing agent, all being able to get together, all get everybody on the same page. And that way, when the appraisal comes in, it's not a surprise. We all know, we all knew it, we expected it, or we didn't.
So we're just getting smarter by the minute, which I love. And I'm super grateful that you created that as an agent. So if you are an agent watching, please check out valuetest.ai.
It's in 400 MLSs.
It's amazing. I've used it as an agent. It's probably one of the smartest systems I've logged into. So really encourage you to check it out. If you're a buyer, that's not really something we're going to be able to give you access to, but you can go to the website, give them some hits and some love, and tell your realtor friends wherever you might live.
Yeah, you got to have MLS codes.
Yeah, exactly. You got to call me, buddy.
Call Laci for anything here.
So Brent, talk to me about, a lot of people who call talk about new homes versus resale. And 5 years ago, new homes versus resale were very closely matched when it came to pricing, which was always a surprise to me. I never kind of understood that. And as I've learned more about the industry and how we price things and value things, it's become a little more clear. But how is right now we have, if you're not aware, right now, new home builders are doing this thing to where they're offering major discounts, buying down your rate, just creating a lot of noise when it relates to what you can buy. And it's really enticing as a buyer because it's like, oh, I'll take that free candy. What is it doing to our industry, in your opinion?
So the bottom line is, it's buying new versus buying a resale is like buying a new car versus a used car.
Right.
So there is always a premium to new home building because the costs are higher. So and they're priced above. In fact, we were talking about the median price increases. A lot of builders are now listing their properties on the MLS, which is now driving up the median prices. So whether or not those numbers across the country are real or not will depend on the amount of builders that are actually putting their sales in the MLS and disclosing all their incentives, all of that. So
because that's where we pull for the reporting, right? Is
that's
mostly
a wild
from MLS.
card. Well, and what we'll do when we do a new construction appraisal, the builder will actually, we'll ask for all their transactions, whether they have paid closing costs. We will get a sheet from them. But we only use new construction comps. So that's cool. How we're able to, basically, it's not fair to use a resale comp against a new construction.
So if you're using only new construction compared to new construction, the builder can actually keep their prices higher because they're only comparing
if they have
to their
sales,
own houses.
If they have sales that
if people are buying it,
neighborhood.
It's all, again, it's all about what the past appraisals are historical in nature. And so what we're doing is we are talking about it at a point in time. And so we also have to put listings and pendings in, one or two, and that helps demonstrate to the lender where the current market's going.
Demand,
So so if we have a builder and they've got a list, they're listing it now 10,000 lower than their other sales, we may have a problem. Because that's telling us what the current market is doing.
It's a little smoke and mirrors with that world, and we try to explain it as best we can, but that you still have to worry if you're buying a new home, if it's going to be valued by an appraiser, if you're getting a loan, if it's going to be valued at what they're trying to sell it for. So thank you for explaining that. So it's possibly artificially inflating, or at least reporting wise affecting us by what we're seeing when it comes to the median home price, right? We've been talking for 6 months or so about how we're seeing the median home price climb. And I'm going to be honest, I would feel like a dummy, but Brent told me that yesterday, that like, by the way, new homes are now using more of MLS, which is affecting the reporting. And I was like, oh my God, no wonder.
Makes sense, though, because it's gone so much.
It's been a big jump.
They weren't doing that before, and then now they are.
All right, give me one more. Let's drive one more.
So here's another question for you. So I always get this question. People come to me all the time and say, everything I'm looking at online looks like prices are going down. So like looking at Zillow, looking at Redfin, looks like there's price cuts. Are you seeing it? Because you're appraising all over the valley and all different types of people ordering from you. So are you seeing price cuts right now?
So it all depends on the segment of the market. So high end, you know what? If you look at days on market on high end, like luxury, I mean, look at McDonald Highlands. There are lots upon lots. And there is custom. I mean, they've got building, they've got all this going on. When we start seeing price cuts there, that makes sense. The luxury market obviously is luxury. It's luxury. Now, under 400,000, guess what? Everybody's they're still getting action. I mean, and it really all depends. Sometimes you get it as a seller, you want to say, I want this. I want this price, and I'm going to wait for it. The market, especially in this market right now, if you're not selling your home, it's because you're overpriced. Or if
it's not moving in that segment,
you're not willing to make the necessary repairs to get the property. And then the other side is that if you do have a property that does need maintenance, deferred maintenance, or remodeling, you know what? My suggestion is don't do a thing, because everybody's watched too much HGTV. Everybody wants to knock down walls. Leave it for the next buyer. Reduce your price accordingly rather than spend money chasing good after bad.
That's great advice. So speaking of improvements, so for those who have made improvements to their home, let's say they renovated the kitchen, or they did a new backyard, or they added a pool, which we'll talk about in a minute. But what do you do when it comes to valuing? Like, is a kitchen more important from an upgrade perspective than putting shelving in the garage? Is a pool more important than adding a casita? Like, what are some things that play into the appraised value?
So when we look at it, it's like a bundle of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I think of things. So obviously, kitchens, baths, paint, flooring, air conditioning, put a pool in, obviously, all those things will add value.
Right.
Again, when I'm just trying to compare apples to apples. So my comp selection will be really according to what has been done overall to that home.
Okay.
Because I don't know what a kitchen exactly brings back in terms of you spent $50,000. There's no cheat sheet that goes, well, you're going to get 25 back. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and find a home that has those kind of major upgrades done to it.
Okay.
Because what we have is we have a condition rating system as appraisers from C1 to C6. C1 is new, C6 what I call anger, and then C2 is relatively new, C3 been redone or a newer home, less than maybe 20 years, and C4, which is average. So we may take that home that's been redone, at 80s or 90 homes been redone, and move it from C4 to C3.
Okay.
And then that way we can give it extra value against a home.
Is there an amount of value you give from a C4 to
Again,
C3,
that's what you call
on...
professional opinion.
Well, actually, I'm so glad we said professional opinion. So I actually, sorry to own this, but that's a perfect segue. So my next question was going to be, as a listing agent, when we find clients who want to list their home for sale, there's always a moment where, you're looking at comps, the client wants this, the comps support this. So my suggestion typically is you may want to pay for an appraisal prior to us listing the home, because that'll really help us understand the moment we're in, if you will, right? Now, with that being said, for the clients that have done that, we've been able to price it according and close to what the appraiser's thinking. If the appraiser who's hired, who's not the one that we hired originally, comes in to do an assessment of the home, doesn't agree with that first appraiser, how much are you seeing that happen in the industry, where there's a difference of opinion, professional opinion? So
my goal whenever I do a pre-listing appraisal is to give a value that I'm pretty darn sure that if somebody went under contract, that the next appraiser who comes in is going to be pretty darn close.
Gotcha. Not a lot of twisting, right?
No, none. In fact, it doesn't do anybody any good if I give if I go high on something because of what your seller wants, and so the bottom line is pre-listing appraisals are a double-edged sword because you're going to be paying for two appraisals if you do have a buyer who does have. But the flip side of it is that you don't have to use it. You can put it in the drawer if you don't like the number. And usually for unrealistic sellers, and if you're out there, I don't mean to. We all are very proud of
most of them
homes.
are unrealistic.
I'm sure my house is worth less than I think it is too. Then it is good. And then if you get a number that makes sense, then you can use it in your marketing. Appraisal by Brent Jones.
I love it. Listen, not only the most handsome, but also the most knowledgeable. Been in the industry 34 years. I would take that as gold, honestly, as gold. What other questions did you have? Do you have any more?
The other question that I had was more in regards to the rates. So what I'm always saying is when rates hit 6, that's a new 4. Rates hits 5, that's the new 3, right? So as far as the appraisal goes, when rates hit those levels, do you think the prices are going to go up quite a bit?
It all depends on whether or not you start seeing multiple offer situations where you start seeing more buyers coming in at the same time, especially if you start seeing prices reduced, especially on the higher end. I mean, what drives the mid-market are people being able to sell their home to buy something else. So it's kind of a domino effect. So if rates get lower for that first-time home buyer in that entry-level segment, absolutely. That's good. You know what I mean? There are people waiting. I mean, you probably have people who are waiting for the rate in order to qualify for a loan.
Amber, didn't you say there's 2 million people that are on the sidelines that if the rates go down 25 basis points in any or ish, that they're about to fly off the fence,
so I saw something the other day that said if rates go down 0.5%, there's about 2 million people that are on the sidelines. This is nationwide. Right. If rates go down more than 1 to 1.5%, 6 million people.
And these are people who then become qualified and are then will come ready to go.
Because they're just either they just can't afford it. They just don't want to afford qualifying, or like doing your own math.
Or doing I'm going to wait for rates to go down and I'm going to get a good deal. Like
So then,
no cake is being served at this plate,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
because I just remember when that happened, the people ended up having to have a lot more money. So it's like, if you take the rate right now and then you refinance later, it's like marrying a chubby guy and then he becomes sexy after marriage, right?
I love this analogy, girl.
Is that what happens?
Hallelujah. I have officially imprinted on your system. These analogies are life today. I'm getting life from this. This is the next thing.
This is a therapy show.
I'll tell you right now. If she gets up and
the girls talk, okay?
if she breaks
I
into
gotta go
song,
right now.
we're in trouble. If you break into song, we're in you have emerged into one human being.
We
You know
did,
this, right?
yes. And I have to work on some voice lessons. before
I
do
cannot
that.
believe this. All right, let's.
But
yeah.
what I was gonna say
So we
too.
digress.
Sorry. Welcome to our show. I was gonna say something else. Welcome to the show.
But that, like, the sexy man, okay? So then, like, buying when the rates get hot, like, lower, and then the prices go up, it's like marrying a sexy man and then he getting fat afterwards, right?
Listen. Why are happy people not marriageable? I love a little cushion and some.
I mean, I do
fluff.
too. Don't get me wrong.
I know. No, but that's a good analogy for the masses, right? That's definitely it showcases, to your point, the difference on the front side or the back side where you get the benefit.
I will not be putting that in an appraisal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
well,
you
please
should,
don't.
But I mean, it's. I
We're
just
getting
remember
canceled after
feeling
this.
so
I know
bad.
we are.
Am I doing too wrong?
Nope, we're doing great.
I just remember feeling bad for clients, like when the rates got super low, because
there's
like,
a frenzy.
It's going to take me $25,000 extra on top of my down payment and closing costs to get in.
Yeah.
And right now I'm able to help people get into grants and stuff like that to get into houses before, like, we have to go through that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we've seen this before. This isn't something we're making up and we're assuming. We saw this happen 2 years ago, like genuinely 2 years ago. So this is from experience you're speaking, and I think you're absolutely right. So this isn't meant to pressure you to hurry up and buy, but just be aware of the reality of the situation and come ready to go with whatever whatever game you choose to play. Come ready to play.
And compared to what you're paying in rent.
Yeah.
If you're renting, I mean, the rent is just dead money.
Yeah.
You've lost it. You're giving it.
Going up.
You're giving it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what? You're not building equity. You're not. I mean, nobody's ever been unhappy unless you have to sell sometimes because markets go up and down. But if you have a long-term hold strategy, real estate does turn out to be an excellent asset.
Thank you. Brent, do you have questions for us? I mean, we've been just grilling you this whole time. Would you want to know anything about us?
No,
he's like, I'm busy, lady. I got to get out of here.
He's scared right now. He's scared.
I got nothing.
Good.
I got nothing for you two.
Wanted to just say hi to everybody who's tuned in. Steve Six, Edbert Sue, and Mason. Thanks for tuning in live. And for those of you who've been watching and lurking silently, we see you. We know you're there. We appreciate your attention. Super excited for the fact that we got to sit down with you again, Brent. This is always a pleasure. You're so knowledgeable. I've learned a tremendous amount about just how this business works from you over the years. So I just want to thank you for that, being such a good friend.
A wealth of knowledge friend over here.
Oh my God. Most handsome guy in the game, I'll tell you that. So handsome and intelligent. So we're going to wrap it up today. But if you guys want to know more about appraisals, comment on this video, whether you're watching it live or you're watching on a replay. We'll get this guy to come on back in and we'll ask some more hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
As the market evolves, so does the process, and so does, all of the intelligence that goes into it. So super excited that we have him at our fingertips. Thank you again for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Amber, what do we want to tell people if they're thinking about moving to Vegas? What should they do?
Whether you're buying today, tomorrow, or a year from now, the number is scrolling on the screen. We want to talk to you. Or 10 years from now. It doesn't matter when.
I was waiting for her to give my spiel. You did good. That was awesome.
I didn't say it just quite
No,
like
she did great. She did great. Tune in next Friday. Amber and I are always happy to just bring, joy, hope, and education when it comes to moving to Vegas or, I don't know, whatever we feel like talking about. So we'll see you next Friday. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again, Brent.
Thank you,
and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
All right. Let's see if I can end this thing without looking like a crazy person. Oh, too late.